What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Hoops Betting Hour. I am your host, the big man on campus, Jeff Nadu. We are here live on a Friday, June 11th, 2021. Hope you're all having a great morning. It's a rainy morning around here, but two more games tonight in the NBA. We had two last night. We got a big weekend of hoops in the playoffs here as we head closer and closer to the NBA Finals. It's already June 11th. June is flying by. It seems like summer flies by anymore. We're already in the middle of June. We got a couple of games. We got a lot to get to. Let's get to our guest for today. He's here on every Friday. It's Ian Cameron. Ian, how you doing? What's happening? How you been doing in the NBA?
Very good, Jeff. The playoffs have been pretty good overall. Second round, not bad so far. We had a bad night a couple nights ago. Last night was a little bit better, though. Unfortunately, I had Milwaukee first half against Brooklyn, -3. And to get a push, it feels like you lost, to be honest with you, with that bet. I mean, absolutely despicable second quarter. I mean, you get that huge lead, you do everything right. Giannis, a terrific start and aggressive. And then second quarter, he goes back to jacking up bad three-point shots again and settling for just jump shots instead of attacking the rim, which is clearly working. It's hard to fathom, and it pretty much led Brooklyn right back into the game. I mean, you're killing them inside. Why you get away from that, I have no idea. They got up by 20 in the first quarter, and of course, -3 first half. They lead by exactly 3 at halftime. So frustrating to push that. The good news, Jeff, is I had Chris Middleton player prop over 22.5, and easily he got over. I just felt that it was time for him to step up, and he certainly did that offensively. The first quarter, he was hitting just raining threes from the perimeter. But I'm concerned about Milwaukee still. I mean, they hung on for dear life in what was supposed to be a home run spot for them. They coughed up a 20-plus point lead that they had in the first quarter, and they had to hang on for dear life. Hell, Brooklyn took the lead with just over a minute to go. It's a sign that Brooklyn, I think, has shown you enough through 3 games that I think they're better than Milwaukee, and they'll find a way to close them out. It's just a question of when.
I am done with this team. I hate the Bucks. I hate them. They're gutless. There might not be a team in the NBA or in sports I hate more than the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm not kidding. This team has cost me. I bet
That's
them.
That's wrong because you hate a lot of teams and a lot of players.
Hate this team. No, I hate this team. I hate them. They have been the one thorn in my side in the NBA playoffs. And look, I was 0-2 last night. I had a bad night. First time in a while I've had a bad night. I can't remember the last time I went 0-2, 0-3 in the NBA, but it was a bad night. I was laying 3.5 in a game. Naturally they win by 3. You look at things in this series. I mean, Ian, the Milwaukee Bucks are 20 for 88 from the three-point line. That's 22% in 3 games.
And they
gutless.
keep shooting. They're shooting too many threes for the amount that they're making. It's ridiculous. At some point, the reason I don't play sports is because I ain't any good at it. I'm not going to keep going to the driving range and golf when I suck, and I know I can't get any better. I mean, if you're Milwaukee, you got to stop shooting threes because you're not making any.
Yeah, I never thought I'd say this, but and look, maybe I should give him more respect. But you know who they're missing? DiVincenzo. I mean, he gives them a really nice kind of player, kind of that fourth option. Outside of Giannis, Holiday, and Middleton. He's going to give you 10, 15 points a game. And look, the truth of the matter is, Bryn Forbes is not a guy you can trust every night. And Bryn Forbes 0 for 4 last night. Connaughton 0 for 1 from 3. That's 0 for 5 right there. They miss 7 free throws. They go 6 for 31 from 3. I'm just so sick and tired of betting this team, man, because it's like if they would just shoot average or decently average, I mean, they win or cover some of these games. It's really irritating. I'm tired of this team. I'm not betting them anymore. I'm done with the series. I've just kind of washed my hands of them, and I don't like to do that as a gambler, but last night it was a perfect spot. Seemingly the whole world was on the Nets. And they still found a way to not cover the game. And, I probably should have, 2.5 is probably a better number. What are you going to do? But, yeah, I hate this team. The other game last night we had was the Clippers and the
turning out to be the best series in this round, Clippers and Jazz.
It is. And, another team that has kind of been irritating to me is this group. I think I'm like 2-2 back in the Clippers, but last night I wasn't happy with the first half. Then they come out, have a great third quarter, and you're thinking, okay, you got a shot. It's down to 5-6 at one point in the third quarter. But Kawhi Leonard, didn't play real well. They're another group that just doesn't get a ton of run from there. Like, can I ask you a question? Like, legitimately, why are we going back to Beverly again? Like, stop with Patrick Beverly, please. Stop with Patrick Beverly.
You don't like his 20 minutes with 3 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist, and
11
fouls.
minutes. 10 minutes for a man. Why is Beverly playing 21 minutes again? It's back to your same old stuff with Tyronn Lue. Like, I don't know, man. You're down 2-0, and Mike Conley hasn't even played yet. Series is over. Sorry.
Yeah, it does look like the Clippers are in big time trouble.
Why is this team so inept in games 1s and 2s? Like, can you answer?
Yeah, it's happened again. The first two, this time at least they're on the road in a very tough place to win. That much you can excuse them for, but still, unlike last series where they lost the first 2 at home against Dallas, but still, it's not a good way to set the tone for a series when you're coming out in game 1 and in game 2 and you're not getting the job done. And here's the biggest problem I see with this Clippers team. Yeah, I was disappointed with Kawhi a little bit last night because I thought it was one of those he's going to take things over games for Kawhi Leonard. And only 21 points, and because I bet his player prop over. The good news is I had the over in last night's game, and it got there. So that was a good game overall. And I had Joe Ingles, actually, and Donovan Mitchell, player props for the Utah Jazz. So both of those came in. So that was a good game from a betting standpoint. But just looking at this series overall, you look at it from the Clippers standpoint now. In 2 games in this series, you look at game 1, 2. You look at the game last night, and you look at the biggest problem I find with the Clippers right now, they're not getting back in transition, finding their man in transition and guarding that perimeter. They're getting absolutely killed with transition threes in the first 2 games of this series. It happened in the second half in game 1. And after that game, you think to yourself, okay, second half, the 3-ball killed them. But guess what? They come off the 7 games against Dallas, 48-hour turnaround playing in game 1 in Utah, tough building, thin air, high altitude. Okay. It happens. It's just 1 game. The same damn thing happened to them again last night. They're not getting back in transition on defense, matching up with the perimeter shooters of Utah. And whether it's Mitchell, whether it's Bogdanovich, whether it's Joe Ingles, they're absolutely killing this team on the perimeter right now. And again, they did not get back to defend the perimeter last night. So now that's 2 games that it's happened. So after 1 game, you think, okay, maybe you can make your adjustments. Maybe things will be better. But after 2 games, you start to think, maybe you just can't adjust. Maybe you just can't be capable of defending. And it goes back to my earlier argument with you, Jeff, on this show, that I think we need to stop talking about the Clippers as this elite, brilliant defensive team, because this season there have been warts and chinks in that armor and definitely signs of this team not living up to that moniker.
There were issues last year in the playoffs as well. Yep. And, you thought we're moving on from Lou Williams because he doesn't defend. And, it hasn't made any change, really. I'm not really sure why in these 2 games I just didn't bet Donovan Mitchell over. Like I've definitely in this series and in both these series that happened last night, I've been bad in both these series for the most part because, I feel like from what we saw from Luka Doncic and how he just kind of torched the Clippers, Donovan Mitchell is just so good in the playoffs. I mean, last night his over/under was 31.5, blew it out of the water yet again. It's definitely been frustrating, these 2 series for sure.
He wants to put his name on the "I'm a superstar in this league" category. That's what he's trying to do with his performance right now. He's getting closer to that level. I mean, we've always thought of him as he's definitely been an all-star. He's been a great player the last couple of seasons, but he's not been in that superstar, category or conversation. He's getting close to that. He's almost there. He might even be there right now or close to it because that's how well he's playing.
Yeah, no, it's impressive. And look, I also want to say I'm not gonna, knock myself too much. I've had a good playoffs, but you just kind of get frustrated with some of these games and just how it all shakes out. And I should know better with the Milwaukee Bucks. One of the most gutless teams in the sports, really.
You got to say poorly coached too. I mean, this guy got so much hype and praise when he got hired in Atlanta the first time around. Mike Budenholzer, Pop disciple, Greg Popovich assistant. He's going to be great. Like just learning under one of the best coaches. Sometimes you're just better as an assistant, or sometimes just because you're an assistant of a brilliant legend head coach doesn't mean you're going to be a great head coach. Look at Bjorgren in Indiana. Was he any good as a head coach? No.
No, and they pulled
But
the
he
plug.
learned under Nick Nurse, who is a really great head coach in Toronto, and people figured he'd be a great head coach, Nate Bjorkgren, and it was a disaster in Indiana. It's kind of like Budenholzer here. Everyone thought he was going to be a great head coach because he learned under Greg Popovich. Sometimes, you know what? That's not the case. Just because you learned under a great head coach doesn't mean you yourself will become a great head coach.
By the way, according to reports, Scott Brooks will be retained by the Washington Wizards. Another confused and weird team. What is that guy showing? I mean, am I missing
Who was
something
that?
there?
Who was that they got?
Scott Brooks will continue to be the coach in Washington for the Wizards.
Oh, he's going to stay in Washington. Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Just
Like, he only had some good Thunder years, but he had freaking Durant and he had Westbrook and he had Harden for some of
what
those
has he
years,
done
too.
in that Washington?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. But then you look at it's weird. It's just odd, some of these teams. But all right, let's turn the page. It was a bad night last night for me, but you turn the page. Shout out to our guest, by the way, Kate Constable. She comes on, goes 2-0. So shout out to her. I was hitting myself hard because she mentioned she liked the Bucks first quarter. Easy winner, probably the easiest winner of the night. And she faded me with the Jazz. So
I'm pissed off that I didn't bet first quarter. I only took first half. I thought about first
Same.
quarter. I didn't want the full game, and I had no interest in laying the full game, but I was interested in first quarter, first half, and I only took first half. So that part, made me upset.
Thank you for watching the show live. As always, we get a lot of people on the replay that check this show out. So welcome in to anyone checking it out live and on the replay. We appreciate it. Make sure if you enjoy the content here at Pickswise, you're hitting the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you support the show. The quickest way to do something, we don't ask you for any money. We just ask you to support. That's all. All right, let's get into the action for today. We've got two games, one in the East, one in the West. Let's get into it. Sixers at Atlanta. Sixers tied it up the other night. It's 1-1. Two big games down in the ATL. Sixers laying 1.5. Total 225. You just want to play the Sixers on the money line, 118. So if you feel like it's going to be a close game, that's your option there. As far as this game, obviously Philadelphia bounced back in a big way. I had them. I think you might have had them as well. It was all about zigzag. We look at game 2. Sixers did a much better job defensively on the Hawks. Trae Young didn't beat them. They didn't get crushed from 3. The auxiliary pieces didn't kill them. Joel Embiid continued his dominance. And you've got to be happy with what you're seeing from the Sixers, particularly in game 2. The concern, though, for the Sixers, and I'll keep saying this, Joel Embiid's has to play 40-plus minutes, right? Do you trust anyone else offensively to consistently give you offense on this team? Because when I look at Atlanta, I'll be honest, I very much consistently trust Trae Young. I consistently trust Bogdanovich. I consistently trust Herter, Collins. All these guys I trust to score. I don't always trust everyone that the Sixers throw out there. However, we know the Sixers are a much better defensive team than the Hawks. We know that the Hawks have a great home court, though, and that's something that you mentioned. You've got to figure. First game, the Hawks shot the lights out. Second game, didn't shoot the ball really well. You've got to figure a more kind of average, normal game for them. And again, this is a pretty good three-point shooting team, 37.3%. So you've got to expect them to do pretty well here. In this game, though, I'm going to a different – I'm going to go back to kind of a well that has done me well before, and I'm going to do it again here. You look at through the first 2 games, Ian Cameron, the best offensive player for the Sixers outside of Joel Embiid, and really for the last month plus, has been Seth Curry.
Yep, not Steph, Seth, yep.
Yes. Seth's been terrific. You look at the first 2 games in the series, averaging 21. He's shooting almost 70% from 3. He's been awesome. And again, they haven't seemingly went away from him. It seems like they're totally fine with pushing the offense through Curry and through Embiid. And I'm not jumping off the Curry bandwagon anytime soon. This guy's been good to me for a while in props. I've been mostly betting it every time we've seen him. We have a total tonight, 13.5. I'm going to play it. I like what I'm seeing from Seth Curry. It doesn't seem like Atlanta has much of an answer for him. And, frankly, Ian, let's just go back over the last 5 games for Seth Curry. 21, 21, 30, 10, 15. So he's been really good. I'm going to rock with him here. He's been shooting the lights out. We know he always gets volume up. That's one thing I love about the Curry brothers. We know Steph does, but even Seth, you look at his field goal attempts. Last 5 games, he's had 11 field goal attempts or more. So to get to 13.5, I think it's surely there with the amount of 3 opportunities he takes. I'm rocking with that. As far as what do I think happens here, I got to tell you, I think the Hawks shoot much better tonight. I thought at certain points last night, or in game 2, I thought they played pretty well. I thought the fourth quarter was good to the Sixers. They got 14 points out of Shake Milton, which I don't think they're going to get again.
No.
I think if I had to lean here, with how good the Hawks are at home, I definitely lean on the Hawks to win this. I think they go up 2-1 here. I think they're a bit better from the field, from 3, and I just don't think we see 14 for Shake Milton.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an Atlanta team that's been outstanding point spread wise at home. I believe 20-6 against the spread the last 26 home games. I mean, it's pretty damn impressive. And now they're a home underdog, and I think they're like 5-2. The last 7 is a home dog, and this is a great point spread number and a great roll for Atlanta. Back home off a loss. It's an Atlanta team that we have not seen Atlanta lose 2 games in a row in the playoffs so far either. So it's definitely Atlanta or pass for me in this game, and I've lost games with Philadelphia on the road against San Antonio and some of these mediocre teams, when laying points with them on the road. Now, I know you're not laying much. It's 1.5 points here, but the road favorite role is still not my favorite when it comes to this Sixers team. It's just not. You're right about Shake Milton. He saved the day, I think, for Philadelphia a little bit because, they needed his points, to finally pull away and win that game against Atlanta. I can't really be sure that that's going to duplicate itself again. It's funny, if you take away Shake Milton and you take away Steph Curry and what they've done in this Seth Curry, if you take away what he's done in Shake Milton as well, the rest of the Sixers, they're only shooting 8 of 35, 23% from 3-point range. That's terrible. It's absolutely brutal. So thank goodness if you're the Sixers and you're Doc Rivers, you have Seth Curry launching and making from 3-point range because the rest of this team has not been good from the perimeter. It definitely feels like one of those nights where the Atlanta Hawks offense is going to be better. You can't expect Trae Young to play poorly like he did in game 2 because, look, he turned the ball over, which was uncharacteristic of him. I think he tried to force a bit too much. I think because they were trailing a lot in that game, he felt he had to do more, and he was just very poor with his decision-making with the basketball. Credit to Philly's defense, though. They were a lot better in game 2. But now I think it's time for Trae to step up, just like Philly's defense stepped up in game 2, Jeff. It's a series of adjustments. Now's the night, I think, for Trae Young to step up. I do like your Seth Curry prop, though. Seth Curry over 13.5 points, I think, is a good way to go. I like Trae Young over points and assists over 36.5. I think he gets there tonight. I think he's going to facilitate. He's going to be good with the ball. He's going to be an assist machine, not a turnover machine tonight. And he's going to also make his fair share of shots, which he's obviously capable of doing, which we saw him do against this Philly team in game 1 when the Hawks took that game. So that's what I'm looking at here. I don't have an opinion on the total one way or the other. I'm totally neutral on that, so I'm not even going to begin to give an opinion on that. But I do like Atlanta here a little bit at +1, +1.5. I like your Seth Curry look. As far as Atlanta, I'm going to stick to Trae Young to have the big game for them. And I like the points and assists rather than just the points because I think he's going to do a good job getting Bogdanovich, getting Gallinari, getting the other teammates involved, Collins down low. I think you're going to see him be a playmaker as well as not just a shooter tonight. So, but he'll be active, and I like Trae Young over 36.5 points and assists.
Yeah, I actually played his assist prop the other night in game 2. I felt like he would be a little bit more keyed in on, have to kind of deflect a little bit to his teammates, and it was able to win. I actually went 2-0 in this game the other night by taking the Sixers and that Trae Young total. So, yeah, this has been a fun series. Been enjoying it. Obviously, as a Sixer fan, I don't know that I'm always enjoying it, but I've done well with it. So, yeah, I think props are kind of the way to go.
By the way, Lou Williams over 6.5 points. I like that. For some reason, I get that feel back on home floor. Mm-hmm. I think Nate McMillan might go to him a little bit more off the bench in this game. And it just feels like one of those games where it's a Lou Williams. He's going to make some things happen. And his point total is reasonable, 6.5, because he doesn't get the attention that Collins, Capella, Gallinari, Huerter, and obviously Trey gets. So I like that one. It's good value, I think. And this is the right spot, I think, to buy low now on Lou Williams for the Atlanta Hawks tonight, over 6.5 points.
I mean, I think what I would also recommend here is, let's say you find that you don't necessarily like Seth Curry to score, which is fine, understandable. Do you just probably say to yourself, how do we not just bet Joel Embiid over points? Like, is it pretty clear that they have no option really, and they can't guard Embiid either?
They can't. Yeah, I would. I mean, like I said, I didn't give that. It's a lean for me to the over 32.5 points for Embiid, but I'm certainly not betting the under, and I wouldn't talk anyone out of taking the over. What did he get? 40 points in the last game. He's gone over that. His player prop
40 and 39. Total,
yeah, in both games so far in this series, and it's 32.5. So
and
he's got wiggle room there.
And he's only playing. I mean, not that he's going to play many more minutes, but I'd have to figure, and I don't know if. Maybe Doc Rivers just isn't smart enough to understand, which that's not out of the question because he's been pretty bad. But you can play Joel into the 40 minutes, Doc. I mean, right? So I think
some of these guys like it's a December regular season,
right?
Times.
Right.
Hard to fathom,
but Joel's basically scoring a point per minute. Like that's kind of where he is, like when he's in the game. So
yep.
Yeah, I'm hastened to maybe go to that just because
people thought Capella could be a defensive stopper to Joel in this series. No, he can't. He's going to do the best.
I'd hoped maybe he could do something, but he's just weak. He's not strong enough. I don't think. Capella needs to add some bulk to him a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I think the size mismatch and the girth that Joel Embiid has over him is taking a toll on him.
Agreed. So yeah, I'm leaning Hawks. I'll just go, lean in with the money line here to just win. But the best bet to me is I'm going to keep going to Seth Curry here. I think he's kind of the table setter offensively outside of Embiid, and I think they've really kind of enjoyed his role. I mean, you could safe to say they won in a high level way in the Dallas trade with getting rid of Josh Richardson and bringing him in. That's been a very good move by Morey.
It was a bad trade for Dallas. Josh Richardson didn't have a good playoffs in my mind. Seth Curry was amazing for them last year in that series against. I know they lost the series, but he was great against the Clippers.
They had hoped he'd be better defensively, and he didn't really make them that much better defensively. All right, we'll do best bet to the end, but let's get to the other game tonight. Suns and Nuggets. Nuggets laying 1.5, total 223. I'm going to come out right and say it. I'm blown away that the Nuggets are a favorite in this game. Blown away. I don't think they win a game in this series, and I'm going to die on that hill. I don't think there is even close to what the Suns can throw out there. Is it a spot where you say, oh, it's kind of a square bet to maybe take the Suns? Yeah, but it was a square bet to take the Nets last night, and that came in. At the end of the day, Ian, we have to look at pronounced problems for the Nuggets. And again, I'm going to keep talking about the points that I made because I made them. There are pronounced problems with this team. Michael Porter is injured, and this is not a random injury. He's had a back problem for a while. This is a team that doesn't have many more options, right? The guard play, there is such a gulf in talent between what the Nuggets have and what the Suns have. They've done a nice job. Shout out to DeAndre Ayton. This guy is maturing before our eyes. He has really done a nice job on both ends against Nikola Jokic. This is a Suns team defensively that is much better than the Nuggets are. This is a Nuggets team that can't stop the Suns. It's pretty clear. I think they get swept. I'll be real frank with you. I think it's a gentleman's sweep. I think the Nuggets are done, cooked, say goodnight. They just don't have the talent to run with the Suns to me. And I think not having Jamal Murray has really hurt, and not having, and it's not only him, Ian, it's Jeremy Grant that they moved on from. It's Plumlee who they moved on from. It's Gary Harris who they moved on from. It's not having those guys that really helped your bench a whole lot. And not only do you have to go to the bench from a starting role standpoint now, but you got to play guys like Howard and these guys that I just don't want to give a lot of minutes to. So I'm on the Suns here. I'll gladly take 1.5 points. I think they sweep the Nuggets.
This kind of feels like Brooklyn Milwaukee last night, where I think early in the game you can make a case for Denver. First quarter, first half, Michael Malone did rip the hell out of them after game
Hey,
two.
Ian, I talked about this yesterday. I want to ask you about this. Does he have the balls to do that? Because like as far as I know, he's the one that pulls Jokic and everybody out at the beginning of the fourth quarter. I mean, if anybody quit, it was him. What's he talking about?
He's talking about the team quit. You're right. He sort of basically said, you know what, we're not winning this game early.
So make sure you say
quarter.
I quit as well, because I didn't put them back in either.
Yeah, I mean, he could have. Jokic was the one guy that showed up in game two the other night. 24 points, 13 boards. I think he did everything he could, but it was a miserable night for everybody else, essentially. But he was very vicious toward his team after game two, saying the effort wasn't there. It's pretty embarrassing that the guy that gave us the greatest effort tonight was a guy that just came back from a hamstring injury. Talking about Will Barton, who made his playoff debut, got 10 points for Denver in just 15 minutes on the floor in game two. So he got after them hard. Look, I think part of it, I don't think it's so much an effort issue. He's going to make it because he's got to try to get something better out of his team. This is a coaching tactic to try to get something better from his team tonight than what we saw in game two. So he's going to go to the card of we quit, we laid down, hoping that stimulates them, hoping that fires up Denver enough to be better and play better tonight. But this is not just an effort issue. In fact, it's mostly a matchup issue. You can't match up with Phoenix. You're not as good as Phoenix. Simple as that. And you're not playing Portland's defense anymore. You're playing the Phoenix Suns defense. That's another issue for them. And look, you look at it. Frank Campazzo and Austin Rivers against Chris Paul and Devin Booker. What kind of backcourt match is that? It's a mismatch is what it is. I mean, that's the problem. And Austin Rivers, who had a great series against Portland and that Civ defense, what's he done in this series? Not a whole lot. It's been a different story for Austin Rivers. So to me, this is a problem for Denver. I'm a little bit surprised they've been this bad against the Phoenix Suns, which maybe speaks volumes about Portland and what they were not able to do in the first round, because I, like you, thought Phoenix would win this series, but I didn't necessarily expect them to roll through Denver like a hot knife through butter like this. But that's exactly what's happened in the first two games. It's been dominance. You know, they've had no answers for Ayton. Obviously, the backcourt of Paul and Booker have killed them, and they have gotten a lot more. Like, look at the Suns the other night. Torrey Craig 10, Booker 18, Crowder 11, Mikal Bridges, how good's he been in this series? 16, Paul 17, 8 and 15. You look at Denver the last game, 24 from Jokic, 11 from a banged up, injured, less than 100% Porter, who didn't really and who shot a high volume, so that 11 points isn't very impressive. And then you got 11 from Millsap and 10 from a Barton who's just coming back. You got nothing from anybody else. I mean, you just have so many others players for the Phoenix Suns that can be difference makers and can help this team. The depth is shining through. I heard people say before the series that Denver's bench is deeper than Phoenix's. Well, if they are, it doesn't look that way because Phoenix looks like they've got the backups and the reserves that are making more of an impact in this series than the Denver Nuggets. And look, it's a gulf in defensive aptitude as well. Denver's still a below average defensive team, and Phoenix has gotten their defense back. I think it's safe to say they defended well the later that series went against the Lakers. They've defended well, extremely well in this series so far. This is just a matchup issue, and it looks like a bad one for Denver. And I'm not sold that just going back to home court in Ball Arena there in Denver is going to solve it for them. That being said, I do think the first quarter and the first half are in play for Denver, but I want no part of the full game. This looks like Brooklyn-Milwaukee last night. I think you get Denver with a strong punch early, first quarter, first half, but then Phoenix creeps their way back into the game like Brooklyn did last night. And I wouldn't want any part of trusting them to win the full game, Denver, at this point. I do like that first quarter, first half look, though. This is still a team with Nikola Jokic and a group of guys that are not going to want to get swept. I think they do start strong early in this game, so I do like the Denver first quarter, first half look, but I'm stopping right there. I'm not going to Denver full game because Phoenix has clearly asserted themselves as the superior team. And while I think Denver could get out to an early lead, don't you dare put it past Phoenix to maybe rally back in the second half and maybe make this a nail biter down the stretch. So that's the way I'm going about it. First quarter, first half, Denver. Probably bet Phoenix at halftime if I win both of those. that would probably be my strategy here for this game. As far as the total goes, it's been a zigzag series over under. I lean going back over the total here in this game because you think Denver will do better offensively here in this game. And because you're not going to get a blowout, I think there's a chance this could be relatively competitive in the fourth quarter for a change. You should be able to see points down the stretch, which you didn't get the last game. So Denver first quarter, Denver first half. I like the full game over. I would also maybe look at, in terms of props for this game, it wouldn't hurt you to stick with Bridges. He's feeling it right now. Ayton, I think, just has a matchup edge. As long as he doesn't get in foul trouble, he can get over his point total because I don't think they have a matchup defensively, Denver, for DeAndre Ayton in this series. And for Denver, I'm keeping it simple. Nikola Jokic is the guy you got to target. In a game like this, backs against the wall, down 2-0 at home, got to win this game. You'd expect a monster performance and a carry the team on his back type of effort tonight from Jokic, kind of like we saw from Donovan Mitchell in game one against the LA Clippers. So Jokic, you could go points, rebounds, and assists. You could do all three, but definitely Jokic props are on the radar for me tonight.
Yeah, listen. When you're looking at a total, maybe you just kind of simplify it and just go Suns team total over. It seems like I think we all can contend that the Nuggets just can't stop the Suns. So that could be an avenue to wage. I agree with Jokic. I think he'll obviously have a great game tonight. He's always going to have a great game. I lost a prop the other night with him because he didn't play in the final fourth quarter, and it killed it. But either way, I could see it where the Nuggets maybe have a celebrated effort tonight, maybe in the first half, and that makes sense. But I think the Suns are just a way better team. I think they'll assert. They're always very good in the fourth quarter. They generally put teams away.
Hey, my decision with Milwaukee last night. I know I pushed on the first half, but I could have won with them if I bet them first quarter. But my decision to just go first quarter, first half route with Milwaukee and stay off the full game, it saved me there because of course Brooklyn. I could see that where Phoenix either comes back and wins or they lose by like one or something, or right down to the wire. And that's why, like I say, because Phoenix to me has clearly shown they're better and they match up better with Denver. And that's why, even though I think the Nuggets are a really good situational bet in this game, I only think it's good early in the game, first quarter, first half. I want no part of Denver full game, none.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you wholeheartedly. As far as just one other thing, Phoenix, remember, 48-30 against the spread this year, best in the NBA. So you're always going with a team that just has the ability. They're just better than the Nuggets. I'm just going to keep saying it. All right, best bets. Let's do it. I'm going to go Seth Curry over 13.5 points. I'm also going to play the Phoenix Suns to win the game. I think they sweep Denver, frankly. What do you got, Ian?
All right, let's go with let's do Trae Young over 36.5 points and assists. Let's do that one for a player prop best bet, and I'll give you a side and total best bet. I like Denver first quarter, first half, but I still, even though this is the slam dunk situational spot for Denver, it's not best bet material. I'm going to go with the total instead in that game, over 222.5, Phoenix and Denver. So there you go. Trae Young over points and assists, and over 222.5 in the Phoenix Denver game.
Very good. Euro 2021 gets started today. I wanted to spend a few minutes just discussing my thoughts on Italy. I'm not going to come out and say I root for Italy, but I remember 2006, when I was 17 at the time.
Forza Azzurri, isn't that what they say?
Yes, Forza Azzurri, yes. I was 16. My best friend was from Sicily. I worked for him and his father at a pizzeria, and I fell in love with soccer, watched them win the World Cup in 2006. Such a great team, Fabio Cannavaro and Totti and Luca Toni and Gattuso, all those guys. I always have a soft spot for Italy from a soccer standpoint. I love Serie A. So I really spend and put a lot of my time into Italy. I think this is a very good football group. I think they can win Euros. They get started today. It's going to be awesome. I mean, you got just a lot of fanfare. It's always great to see the Azzurri on the field. Bocelli is going to sing Nessuna Donna, which is great. Kind of the the call for all Italians. It's gonna be great. Then you got the game itself, and I'm questioning on what the lineup will look like. I think you've got to give Locatelli a shot in the midfield. The Sassuolo midfielder, really electric player. I don't know if Verratti will start, but I think Locatelli must be in the starting 11. I would like to see Bastoni back there as well. I don't want to see Bonucci. Bonucci is, I think, past his prime a little bit. Up front, I mean, I'm looking at Immobile to score any time, plus 140. I think that's a strong possible decision there. I like Italy. I took them to score over 1.5 goals. I got a great number at 115. Turkey is not a group that has had real success defensively recently. I think they definitely ship two. This is a different type of Italy side. This is not the old school, old lady type of team that is going to win a lot of games 1-0. They have firepower. The midfield's good. And they've got kids up front, whether it's Immobile, Chiesa, Insigne, Raspadori, all these guys, all very good options to score goals. I like the fact that Mancini is in control of this group. Kind of gives me Marcello Lippi feels back in the day when he was there, when they won the whole thing. I think this is a very good side. I think they probably win today, but I just went with over 1.5 goals. Very much looking forward to this tournament. I know you're not a big Turkey's defense is not elite. That's one of the more ridiculous things I've heard in a long time. Ian, I know you're not a big. I know you're not a huge soccer guy, but are you invested in this tournament at all, or?
Yeah, actually, I am, because I get people send me plays via email, and people that are really good at soccer. So sports like that, and golf and tennis, those are sports that I will definitely bet plays of other people that recommend something, and that's what I've got. I got a couple people that are sending me plays daily here in Euro 2020, so I will be involved. And my soccer guy says he's on the same team total as you, actually. Italy over that team total. He also gave me a couple of other bets here. Italy win to 0 at plus 110 is something, because apparently Italy's on this great run of clean sheets where they haven't conceded a goal in a very long time as well.
They are very good. I mean, they've been kind of through this little level recently in where they're transitioning between the old guard, which was like Buffon in goal, Chiellini, Bonucci. Now you're starting to see Bastoni, who's a young player, a terrific defender, Spinazzola, Florenzi, all these guys. So I love that play. I think it's a great play. Win to 0.
Yeah, Italy win to 0, and a small little correct score prop as well. 2-0 okay. Italy. I think at plus 500 was so the correct score prop smaller. He said smaller stakes on that, but the main two are Italy win to 0 and that team total for Italy over 1.5 goals. So there you go.
Yeah, I think I actually like all those plays. This guy in the chat's trying to continue to contend that. Listen, here's the thing we have to realize when we get from friendlies and qualifiers to the big stage, okay? And he's trying to contend that Turkey has a good defense. Here's what I'll point out, okay? This is a team, Turkey, that in qualifiers gave up 3 to Latvia, 1 to Azerbaijan. I think they gave up 2 to the Netherlands. Some of the recent games have been against Moldova, one of the worst teams in the world, Guinea, a team out of Africa. We have to stop talking about qualifiers because they had maybe a couple clean sheets against teams that maybe you, me, and 9 other people could beat. This is not a good defensive club. And upping your coinage to playing Italy and teams at highest levels, we have to stop talking about qualifiers when it comes to the, World Cup, Euro Cup. Look. If you think they're a good defense, fine, bet it. But the truth of the matter is they're not a good defense. They gave up 3 to a team that's not even in this tournament because they couldn't qualify in Latvia, and a team in Azerbaijan who is probably one of the worst teams in Europe. So, all due respect, I don't agree with you there. But if you believe it, so be it. But the only
analysis I can give you is that guy tells me that he likes Italy team total over and Italy win to 0. So that's my analysis right there.
Yeah, which would contend that Turkey's not great. They're a sleeper team. That's about it. I mean, look, and I'm not going to say they don't have a good side. I mean, they've got some good players. Henrik Chanakolu is a good player. They've got some good players. I'm not going to tell you they don't. Yilmaz is a good player. But I don't.
Salah play for them? Or?
No, Salah's Egyptian.
Oh, okay.
Salah's not in this tournament, sadly, but yeah, no, they have a solid side. Shank Under's a good player. They've got some good players, but they're not on Italy's level, and I think Italy gets two here for sure. All right. Everyone enjoy that tournament. Enjoy NBA tonight as well. Ian, let us know where we can find you, what you got going on.
Twitter at Bobano. Of course, you can find me there daily. I've got shows 7 days a week. We have the NBA Pub Hub, me, Connor, Max, Ski Profit, and Dutch doing that show for 7 days a week during the playoffs, NBA Pub Hub. We've got the MLB Baseball Show with me and Connor Mack on Pub Sports Radio as well. Great group. The channel is evolving. It's great to be there. I'm on there 7 days a week for baseball and NBA. And, of course, the Ice Guys. 7 days a week, too, until the end of the season as the Stanley Cup playoffs are down to the semifinals, the Final Four, if you will. So Ice Guys, check them out. Ice Guys presented by the Hockey Podcast Network, the Ice Guys YouTube channel, the hockeypodcastnetwork.com, so you can find that as well.
Hey, by the way, did you hear about my 3-0 hockey run that I'm on? That I never bet hockey before, but I went 3-0?
No, I didn't. What did you take?
I had two parlays that were 2.5 to 1 or higher. And the other night, listen to this one, Ian. Brad Marchand to score anytime, plus 178.
Very good. In game 6 against the Islanders. Yes, I was on that as well. I was hoping Bergeron would score
lost.
too. Didn't happen, but they lost. Yeah, that's all right. Goal score prop cashed.
Yeah, plus 178. Ian, great stuff, man.
Well, by the way, if you're interested in tennis out there, Stefanos Tsitsipas just won and got to the final of the men's French Open. So there you go.
Who the hell is that? Who did he beat? Nadal or somebody?
That tells you all you need to know about Jeff's interest in tennis right there. Yeah.
I mean, I care about tennis like I care about, bowling. I mean, yeah, great. Good for them. But no, I know people bet on tennis. I know Spread Astaire bets on tennis, friend of the show, be on this weekend. He I'm sure, I don't know if he had that, but yeah, shout out to that guy. By the way, want to say two things. Yesterday, I had the worst eating day in the last 15 months I've had. I went to a historic buffet around here, ate terribly. Then I went to my mom and dad's. I had dinner with them, and I didn't eat well there either. I did not feel good yesterday. So if you're someone that doesn't eat well, I urge you, go out and eat better. You'll feel so much better. I promise you. And I'm a living testament to that. I will never eat like that again. I tried it. It was a fun thing. I was seeing some friends that I hadn't seen, but you don't feel real good doing it. Ian, you're a pretty healthy
greasy,
guy. So.
Junk foods. You're talking about eating some different things and diversifying your food lineup.
Yes,
yeah.
I had what did I have? I had pancakes. I had some an omelet. I had some sausages. All the stuff that you don't really eat much. A lot of sugar, right? Felt terrible. I had a great workout yesterday, and I felt good after that. But yeah, it's not ideal. Also, please go if you enjoy the Mafia, you enjoy mob history, you enjoy mob movies. Go check out The Sit Down. I think it's a great podcast to binge. I think you'll really enjoy it. We try to tell compelling stories about gangsters in America's lore throughout the years. We've got some big shows coming up. We just did Carmine Persico. This is a guy, Ian Cameron, that was a murderer by the age of 17. He had killed somebody. He survived multiple assassination attempts, took the family through wars, spit a bullet out that lodged through his jaw, spit it out in his car, basically, survived all the way to the top of the Colombo crime family, took the family through in jail. He's a fascinating guy. We got Anthony Casso, probably the most lethal, disturbing individual in the history of the mob next week. We're going to do Al Capone as well coming up. So the show's gaining a lot of steam. I am really proud of this thing. We're up to 75,000 listens through 10 episodes. Which for a show that doesn't get a ton of promotion outside of a few of our famous friends, we're very happy with it. So if you enjoy that kind of stuff, it's kind of a different thing from what I normally do, but it's gaining steam. So if you enjoy that kind of stuff, go check it out. All right, Ian, good to see you, my man. Hope everything's well with you on the personal level. We'll talk to you next week, and good luck in the NBA tonight.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Good to be with you as always, and we'll see you again right here on the Hoops Hour next week, next Friday.
Look forward to it. As always, thanks for checking out the show. We're here every day, noon Eastern. We'll be here tomorrow and Sunday as well, breaking down the NBA card. Make sure you hit the subscribe button here at PicksWise. And you check out FanDuel. some of the best lines in the business. I'm the big man. He's Ian Cameron. We'll see you tomorrow.